Welcome back to Wall of Gain, where passion meets music, and in this video I'm going to be picking my dream rock supergroup from the 1960s. So this video was inspired by Gavin from That Sound podcast. He had picked his favourite supergroup from the 1960s and 70s, and this is like a dream supergroup. So essentially this is a supergroup that didn't happen, but if you had the choice to put these musicians together in a band, what would your band be? So Gav picked his and I was inspired to pick mine. But I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to take each decade and isolate it. So for example, in the 1960s, which is this video, I'm going to pick my favourite band. Then next week or the week after, I might do the 1970s, followed by the 80s, 90s, etc. So we'll see how this goes. Should be a bit of fun anyway. So starting off with the 1960s, and it will be very hard not to have any members of the Beatles in the 1960s best supergroup, as should we say. They had such an impact on music. They were so influential. They wrote so many fantastic songs. They were great musicians as well and great songwriters. So I think we should start off with the Beatles. Who to pick from the Beatles? Well, if we take the Beatles as a template, so we've got John Lennon on vocals and rhythm guitar. We've got Paul McCartney on bass. He also played guitar and piano and some drums occasionally. We've got George Harrison on lead guitar and of course Ringo Starr on drums. I would then actually switch out Ringo with Charlie Watts from the Rollin Stones, okay? So the reason I put Charlie in there, I just think he's a better drummer. He comes from a jazz background. He's more solid than Ringo, in my opinion, and I think he would bring an extra dimension to the Beatles. So Ringo, you're out. You've been replaced by Charlie. Also at lead guitar, now this was tough because I'm a huge George Harrison fan, but I think he had to be replaced with someone who was a better lead guitar player. And there was no better lead guitar player in the 1960s, in my opinion, than Eric Clapton. Okay, of course, this is a Cream album, which is one of the many projects Eric Clapton had in the 1960s. But I think Eric Clapton would lift the Beatles up a gear, and I think he will be absolutely fantastic in that band. Whether the egos would work or not, I'm not too sure, but that's what I'm picking for the moment. So we've got John Lennon, we've got Paul McCartney, we've got Eric Clapton on lead guitar, and on drums we've got Charlie Watts. So then, as to spice things up a little bit, I'm bringing in Ray Manzarek from The Doors. Of course, he was on the keyboards and organs and pianos on The Doors, and I think he would be a fantastic addition to this group. So there you go. That's my dream rock supergroup of the 1960s. It's John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Eric Clapton, Charlie Watts, and Ray Manzarek. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button. I would love to hear from you what your dream rock supergroup of the 1960s is. So please leave that in the comments below. You could pick 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people. I really don't mind. Just trying to get a bit of discussion going here and trying to find out who the most influential musicians were in the 1960s and the kind of bands people would have liked to have seen put together. Okay, if you could also subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it because it helps out my channel and we're trying to grow this community here in Wall of Gain. And I will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.